Assalamualaikum and good evening, ladies and gentlemen. You're now with me, Yusuf Shukri, for TVS Nightline, and these are the headlines for tonight's edition. Sarawak Premier announced two-day Raya open house at the Borneo Convention Centre, Kuching. CENTEXS becomes the first in Malaysia to cultivate paddy via drip irrigation system. And our top news tonight, 9 dead, over 900 injured in the most powerful earthquake in Taiwan in 25 years. At least 9 people were killed and more than 900 injured by a powerful earthquake in Taiwan earlier today that damaged dozens of buildings and prompted tsunami warnings that extended to Japan and the Philippines. Officials said the quake was the strongest to shake the island in decades and warned of more aftershocks in the days ahead.
Taiwanese President Tsai Ing-wen said the army will assist in relief efforts following the major 7.4 magnitude earthquake which hit Taiwan's east.
要请各位持续的密切关注各地的状况，那么随时启动各项应变工作，守护国人的安全。那么中央各部会也要跟地方政府保持联络，提供所需要的协助。国军也会提供支援，中央地方相互合作，一起将灾害带来的冲击降到最低。
Strict building regulations and widespread public disaster awareness appear to have staved off a major catastrophe for the earthquake-prone island, which lies near the junction of two tectonic plates. Wu said the quake was the strongest since a 7.6 magnitude struck in September 1999, killing around 2,400 people in the deadliest natural disaster in the island's history. Wednesday's magnitude 7.4 quake hit just before 8 a.m. local time with the United States Geological Survey, putting the epicenter 18 kilometers south of Taiwan's Hualien city at a depth of 34.8 kilometers. According to officials, 3 people among a group of 7 on an early morning hike through the hills that surround the city were crushed to death by boulders loosened by the earthquake. Separately, a truck driver died when his vehicle was hit by a landslide as it approached a tunnel in the area. The National Fire Agency said all the deaths occurred in Hualien County and that so far more than 900 people had been injured in the quake without specifying how seriously.
Now back home, Sarawak Premier Dato' Patinggi Tan Sri Abang Johari Tun Nopeng and his wife Puan Sri Dato' Amah Jumaani Tun Tuan Haji Bujang will be hosting an open house at the Borneo Convention Centre, Kuching, BCCK, on the first day and second day of Hari Raya Aidilfitri. According to a media release from the Premier's office earlier today, the open house will commence at 10:30 a.m. until 3 p.m. on the first day and 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. on the second day. The public is invited to attend, advisably wearing neat and appropriate attire. Now, the Centre of Technical Excellence Sarawak, CENTEXS, has successfully cultivated paddy in an area of more than 1 acre using a drip irrigation system as a pioneer project. CENTEXS Chief Executive Officer Datuk Syed Muhammad Hussein Wan Abdul Rahman said CENTEXS is the first in Malaysia to successfully utilize the system for paddy cultivation.
Teknologi yang kita pakai adalah drip farming, drip irrigation. Kita pakai titik air dalam dekat dengan yang pun akar padi lah. Jadi bukannya pakai flooded method lah. Jadi disebabkan titik air tu penting sebab kita waktu zaman hujan sedah, padi kita perlu air lah. Jadi kita perlukan titik air tu. The drip irrigation lah. Number 2, drip irrigation tu allow mesin masuk senang lagi. Jadi kita perlu pakai manual harvester lah. Kita pakai manual harvester, perlu ambil wang. Saya ada wang nak kerja nak macam tu lagi kena tu. Jadi dengan adanya mesin tu, dengan ada drip irrigation, kita dapat commercialize paddy farming. Macam juga macam kelapa sawit lah, macamnya. nyempun bisnes modelnya sama dengan kelapa sawit. Jadi itulah adalah yang the moment, very important moment untuk CENTEXS. Saya rasa untuk Sarawak pun very important juga. Itu adalah titik permulaan kita dengan teknologi tinggi.
Commenting further, he said the system is vital to ensure the quality and consistency of paddy for commercial markets.
Teknologi ini membenarkan kita menggunakan cara precision. Maksudnya tadi kita garanti paddy dalam masa 3 bulan dia akan tumbuh untuk saiznya. Macam mana? Precision farming. Sebabnya pakai air yang tetap, fertilizer yang betul, cun paddy yang betul. Kita nandah aja paddy tu sekuati-sekuatinya, kita belum tahu berapa lamanya, berapa tannya, yieldnya belum tahu. So precision farming tu maksudnya lepas 3 bulan tu tannya. Untuk nyempun kualiti paddy-nya kita tahu daripada awal.
He said this to the reporters after visiting the paddy cultivation site at CENTEXS Santubong earlier today. Meanwhile, he said artificial intelligence also plays an important role in signaling water pumps to generate water droplets. According to him, a water pump will produce 1 litre of water every hour for an area of 60 centimetres. He said the advantage of the system is that it is generated using solar energy, adding that plans are being laid out to expand paddy cultivation using drip irrigation systems throughout Sarawak. Meanwhile, Datuk Syed Muhammad Hussein Wan Abdul Rahman said his team is currently in the midst of conducting a study with the Department of Agriculture on ways to realise Sarawak's ambition to become the largest exporter of rice in the region. He said to develop the rice cultivation sector, Sarawak must use the palm oil business model as an example which has been successful in making Malaysia one of the leading palm oil exporters.
Modelnya adalah breed yang betul. Benih kelapa sawit yang betul yang dipola oleh Sam Dabi yang dapat mengeluar banyak breed dan ekspor keluar. Nombor 2 yang mesti export option. Nombor 3 yang mesti commercial yang dijalankan oleh company supaya dia dapat jadi besar. Mungkin dijalan oleh orang kampungnya dia siap besar tapi dia dapat menolong orang kampung tapi kita mau paddy itu besar dia mesti jalan secara commercial. Harganya ngikut international price. Paddy international price mahal yang pernah berapa beribu-ribu juga setan paddy tu. Tapi lepas nyempun lebihannya boleh pergi ke lokal that business model very important. Kita nak berjaya mesti ngikut palm oil business model. Because palm oil business model dah berjaya di Malaysia dan Indonesia. Kita one of the largest exporter of palm oil. So kita ngikut closely business model palm oil tu, insyaAllah we will become net exporter of paddy. Macam premium pun vision .
On to more state news. The direct flight from Kuching to Jeddah is expected to streamline the travel arrangements for pilgrims from Sarawak. Chairman of the Sarawak Umrah and Hajj Agencies Association, or SUHA, Ruzaiman Ghazali, said that this initiative not only fulfills the aspiration of SUHA, but also all prospective Islamic pilgrims in Sarawak.
Sepanjang yang saya dalam industri itu perkara ini masih diusahakan. Masih diusahakan. Kita berharap satu hari masa yang terdekat perkara ini akan direalisasi dengan segeralah supaya memudahkan jemaah Islam di negeri Sarawak kita.
He spoke to reporters after paying a courtesy call to Sarawak Premier Dato' Petinggi Tan Sri Abang Johari Tunopeng at Wisma Bapa Malaysia earlier today. On the Hajj quota in Sarawak, he hoped that Sarawak would receive an equal share of spots. He remarked that the issue concerning Sarawak's Hajj quota is not new and has been a long-time thorn in the side of prospective pilgrims in Sarawak. For the record, the Malaysian Hajj quota for this Hajj season is 31,600 pilgrims.
The Sarawak government, through the Department of Social Welfare, has allocated 70,000 ringgit in aid to victims of a fire in Kampung Haji Baki that occurred on March 22nd. State Minister of Women, Childhood and Community Wellbeing Development, Datuk Seri Fatimah Abdullah, said that the aid will be used for the construction of new homes. And according to her, the specifications of the new homes are determined by the Welfare Department, with the blueprints already approved by the Public Works Department.
Fatimah added that a total of 34,100 ringgit was also distributed under the Welfare Department's disaster aid, which includes food, daily clothing, uniforms and school supplies, bedding, kitchen utensils and building materials.
Dari segi bantuan yang kita berikan adalah mengikut bilangan ahli keluarga di dalam rumah tersebut, dan umur juga penting. Umur, kalau ada anak kecil seperti yang saya terangkan tadi, anak kecil ini kalau mereka misalnya umur masih bersekolah, jadi ada bantuan tambahan diberikan. Jadi dari segi bantuan pakaian sekolah, pakaian seragam dan bantuan dari segi peralatan sekolah, bantuan 70,000 untuk membina rumah baru, dan ini akan diurus tadbir oleh pihak Residence Office, pejabat residen. So saya bersyukur saya tadi mendapat laporan bahawa ini sedang diuruskan, Ada yang perlu pergi ke Land and Survey sebab keterangan tentang tanah itu mestilah ada,
In addition to the home construction aid, Fatimah revealed that the state government has also provided assistance in terms of approval applications for the rent-to-own housing scheme under the Sarawak Housing Development Corporation (HDC).
Dan untuk sementara waktu, saya juga terangkan kepada mangsa kebakaran ini, sebab pengalaman kita ada yang menjangka bahawa mereka akan dapat rumah baru ini dalam masa yang pendek. I mean, we have to explain to them, ia akan memakan masa. Memakan masa, siknya terus tahun tu akan dapat. So kita beritahu mereka supaya mereka faham. Dan dengan itu, buat sementara waktu, your good self, Yang Berhormat Datuk telah berurus dengan pihak HDC, Landeh, HDC. Jadi ada 5 unit yang boleh disewa. 4.
Speaking to reporters after handing over aid at the Kampung Haji Baki Community Hall earlier today, Fatimah clarified that rentals will be subsidized by the government by RM200, with the tenants paying RM50. On March 22nd, the fire resulted in 4 houses in Kampung Haji Baki being completely burned, while 4 others were partially destroyed. No injuries or fatalities were reported in the incident. The 30 victims from 5 families affected were temporarily relocated to evacuation centres, which ceased operations on April 3rd.
Sarawak recorded a total of 5,278 road accidents between January and March of this year. Quoting statistics from the Royal Malaysian Police PDRM, Sarawak Transport Minister Datuk Seri Lee Kim Shin said of the total, 75 resulted in fatalities, while 37 were categorised as serious accidents. And of the total fatal accidents, he said Miri recorded the highest number at 15 cases, followed by Padawan at 9 and Cebu at 6.
Meanwhile, citing road accident statistics, Sarawak reported a total of 378 deadly car crashes throughout all of 2023, comprising 9.9% of 21,418 car accidents in total, resulting in 428 deaths. The total number of car accidents in 2023 show a marked increase of 11.7% compared to 2022. Lee attributed this rise primarily to human error, notably negligence and carelessness.
Statistik juga, kebanyakan kemalangan ini berlaku adalah faktor-faktor manusia, iaitu kelalaian dan kecuaian pemandu sendiri. Mengikut statistik kita yang kita terdapat di Sarawak sini, untuk bulan Januari Oktober 2023, 85% ini yang berlaku atas sebab kelalaian dan kecuaian ialah terdiri daripada langgar belakang 28%, memandu lalu dan terbatas sendiri 24%, langgar sebelah tepi semasa keluar masuk simpang 19%, bertempung depan dengan depan 9%, bergesel 5%. Dan faktor yang kedua ialah pertambahan jumlah kenderaan yang berada di atas jalan raya. Daripada sumber JPJ ini, Sarawak merekodkan sejumlah 142,900 961 kenderaan berdaftar baru di Sarawak bagi tempoh 3 tahun, iaitu 2020 hingga 2022, iaitu sebanyak 10%. Dan faktor ketiga ialah faktor cuaca, jalan dan bentok muka bumi, 5%.
He said this to reporters after launching the state-level road safety campaign for festive seasons 2024 at Petro's multi-fuel station, Darul Hana, earlier today. Furthermore, Lee emphasized the importance of ongoing education and awareness campaigns along with enforcement activities as crucial strategies for enhancing road safety and reducing accidents. He said that the ministry, in conjunction with the Sarawak Road Safety Council and in collaboration with multiple stakeholders, is carrying out numerous awareness programs and initiatives aimed at enhancing public consciousness regarding road safety. During the event, Lee also distributed a total of 200 helmets to road users passing through the Petro's multi-fuel station at Darul Hana, in addition to handing out 200 packs of porridge in conjunction with the Hari Raya celebration. Also present was Sarawak Deputy Minister of Transport, Air and Land, Datuk Dr. Jerip Susil, Deputy Minister for Utility and Telecommunication 2 Utility, Datuk Dr. Abdul Rahman Junaidi, General Manager of SETSI Energy, Dato' Abdul Hadi, Director of JPJ Sarawak, Tuan Norizan Jili, and Kuching resident Nur Leha Sharif.
Angkatan Zaman Mansang atau Azam is set to revamp and transform the way they execute their projects. According to Azam Chairman Datuk William Patrick Nyingor, Azam has received invaluable advice from Sarawak Premier Datuk Patinggitan Seri Abang Jari Tunopeng, especially on its direction and approach.
Dan kita telah memberi update kepada Premier mengenai aktiviti dan juga arah tuju Azam, dan telah menerima juga kunjungan ini. Kita telah menerima feedback dan juga cadangan-cadangan yang bernas daripada Premier, dan kita akan menukar arah dan juga menukar langkah dan juga menukar cara Azam akan bergerak dan juga projek-projek dan berfungsi pada masa depan.
He said this to the reporters after paying a courtesy call to the Premier at his office earlier today. Azam, he explained, is a non-governmental organisation that acts as an agent to disseminate information on the development in Sarawak.
Yang menyebarkan dan melibatkan komuniti-komuniti dalam aras pembangunan dan rancangan pembangunan negeri Sarawak. So kita telah membuat ini melalui social media, melalui mass media dan sebagainya. Dan yang kita dan setiap langkah-langkah kita melibatkan ejen komuniti tersebut, bukan hanya one way communication tapi participatory dan juga yang melibatkan komunikasi dalam setiap proses komunikasi.
Now, the founder of KK Supermart and Superstore Sendirian Berhad Group, Datuk Sri Dr. Chai Kikan, has sought forgiveness from His Majesty Sultan Ibrahim, the King of Malaysia, as well as all Muslims in Malaysia. This request comes in light of an audience granted to him by the King at the Istana Negara regarding the sale of socks bearing the name Allah at his outlets. Now, during the approximately 15-minute audience, Sultan Ibrahim emphasized the importance for all parties, including KK Mart, to exercise greater caution regarding the products sold, particularly imported goods, to prevent similar incidents from happening again. He expressed his hope that this would be the last time he needed to address such matters and urged the public not to needlessly prolong the issue. Over 48,000 cancer cases were reported in the country in 2020. With this number predicted to double in 2040, Deputy Health Minister Datuk Lukanisman Awang Sauni highlighted that the Ministry of Health Malaysia has formulated an action plan for cancer prevention and control. According to him, it is set within the framework of the National Strategic Plan for Cancer Control Program for the period of 2021 to 2025.
Imunisasi kebangsaan dengan memberikan vaksin hepatitis B kepada bayi serta vaksin human papilloma virus HPV kepada remaja perempuan berusia 13 tahun. Menyediakan perkhidmatan saringan kanser secara percuma di klinik-klinik kesihatan seluruh negara bagi mengesan penyakit lebih awal agar rawatan dapat dimulakan lebih awal.
He mentioned that through this plan, several measures have been implemented by the Health Ministry. He said this in reply to a question by Senator Dato' Aziz Arifin during today's Senate session regarding the ministry's strategies against cancer, amid projections by experts indicating a potential doubling of cancer cases in Malaysia by 2040. Luka Nisman also highlighted the Health Ministry's proactive approach in forging partnerships with cancer-focused NGOs in Malaysia aimed at bolstering efforts in cancer prevention and treatment. This collaborative effort involves 23 NGOs who have pledged their support to the Health Ministry's cause, signing a cooperation agreement on February 17, 2024, with the shared objective of closing the gap in cancer prevention and care.
Now, the surge of Singaporean tourists flocking to Johor, particularly Johor Bahru during Ramadan for Ideal Fitri shopping, has significantly boosted the tourism industry and stimulated economic growth. Tourism Johor Director Shahril Nizam Abdul Rahim said the areas attracting tourists from the Republic include Ramadan Bazaars, the Pandan Wholesale Market, Bandar Baru Uda and shopping centres around the city. The influx of tourists from Singapore is undoubtedly different when compared to previous years due to the abundance of Ramadan Bazaars, with every location being crowded with people. Shahril Nizam said this is of course great for the tourism sector, especially since many are still bouncing back economically after going through the COVID-19 pandemic not too long ago. He added it was also an opportunity to enhance efforts to get tourists to explore notable attractions and shop more in Johor. Now, Israel has defended the deaths of the 7-8 workers from the World Central Kitchen WCK by saying they were misidentified as Hamas militants. Its Army Chief of Staff Herzi Halevi said the alleged mistake occurred due to the attack being carried out at night in quote-unquote very complex conditions.
This incident was a grave mistake. Israel is at a war with Hamas, not with the people of Gaza. We are sorry for the unintentional harm to the members of WCK. We share in the grief of their families as well as the entire World Central Kitchen organization from the bottom of our hearts.
His statement followed calls by Israeli allies, including the United States, demanding a full and independent investigation into the incident. According to a statement from WCK, a US-based organization, the 7 staff members from Palestine, Australia, Poland, Britain, and one holding dual US-Canadian citizenship were delivering aid in a convoy to famine-stricken Gaza. They were killed in a targeted attack by the Israeli military, the statement said, urging Israel to stop the indiscriminate killing in Gaza. Meanwhile, the World Bank and the United Nations UN, with support from the European Union, released a report on Tuesday estimating the damage to critical infrastructure in Gaza at approximately $18.5 billion or nearly 88 billion ringgit. According to the interim damage assessment report, the cost of damage is equivalent to 97% of the combined GDP of the West Bank and Gaza in 2022. The report used remote data collection sources to measure damage to physical infrastructure in critical sectors incurred between October 2023 and at the end of January 2024. The report finds that damage to structures affects every sector of the economy. Via the World Bank's website, housing accounts for 72% of the costs. Public service infrastructure such as water, health and education account for 19%, and damages to commercial and industrial buildings account for 9.0%. For several sectors, the rate of damage appears to be leveling off as few assets remain intact. The report also stated that an estimated 26 million tons of debris and rubble have been left in the wake of the destruction, an amount that is estimated to take years to remove. More than half the population of Gaza is on the brink of famine, and the entire population is experiencing acute food insecurity and malnutrition. As it looks at the impact on the people of Gaza, over 1 million people are without homes and 75% of the population is displaced. Wrapping up the Nightline, the Uganda court has declined the move to discard the anti-gay law that many Westerners consider as one of the strictest laws imposed on the minority group, while also stating that there won't be any permanent injunction against its enforcement. Adopted in May 2023, the Anti-Homosexuality Act 2023 imposes life in prison for consensual same-sex relations and contains provisions that make any homosexual offences punishable by death. It was passed by members of parliament from various parties to safeguard vulnerable groups, including young impressionable children, from being victimized by sex predators of the same gender.
Because, as far as we are concerned, homosexuality destroys individuals, homosexuality destroys families, homosexuality destroys society. The time has come when Africa needs to stand on her own feet and chart out her own course and destiny. We cannot be colonized again sexually or colonized again culturally. We refuse that.
Even so, the ruling caught backlash from liberals, especially those who championed the petition against the implementation of the law, represented by lawyer Nicholas Opio.
Given the conservative leaning of the court, the bench had members of the Pentecostal movements who are behind the enactment of this law. Not much was expected from those individuals. They may be judges in gowns, but they have sentiments that we all know publicly, and many of those have a conservative religious leaning, and you can see that reflected in their decision. And we'll challenge that and see what the Supreme Court says.
The petition was brought by two law professors from Makerere University in Kampala, legislators from the ruling party, and human rights activists. They had charged that it violates fundamental rights guaranteed by Uganda's constitution, including freedom from discrimination and the right to privacy. The petitioners also said it contravened Uganda's commitments under international human rights law, including the United Nations Convention Against Torture. In August last year, a 20-year-old man became the first Ugandan to be charged with aggravated homosexuality under the contested law. He was accused of unlawful sexual intercourse with a male adult aged 41, an offense punishable by death. The Ugandan authorities have resisted pressure from rights organizations, the United Nations, and foreign governments to repeal the law. The United States, which threatened to cut aid and investment to Kampala, imposed visa bans on unnamed officials in December for abusing human rights, including those of the LGBTQ community.
See the world closer with TVS as we bring you the latest news updates both locally and internationally. Just a click away by heading on to our website at www.tvsarawak.my or by following us on our social media platforms that alias TV Sarawak. And that's all the time we have for tonight's TVS Nightline. Once again, my name is Yusuf Shukri. Thank you for watching. Good night and Assalamualaikum.